Okay, I'm gonna keep rolling. Here I am walking toward the ship. I think I'm about, I don't know, 100 yards, 75 yards away. Just getting through the woods here. I'm gonna keep this rolling as I'm approaching. Looks like I'm being invited aboard. I'm just gonna continue to roll this as I get closer here. I can feel the energy as I get closer. I don't know if that's coming over on the camera. I don't really hear any noise, but here it goes. Here I am. I don't know if you're still here with me. Here I am. Here you can see this. I don't know if it's still rolling, but there's a bright light. I'm being drawn in. I can feel this energy drawing me in. It's like I'm being invited here. Here I go. You're here, in Focus UFOs. I have here the footage you've been waiting for. First, this footage that I shot a decade ago in the forest above our home in Colorado. It was early afternoon, not long after lunch, and I was working in the field mending a fence, and I first sensed it, but then I saw, looking up toward the sun, a group of craft flying in a tight formation at an extremely high speed. I thought that maybe it was one large craft, but then they broke formation and headed west. But one made its way north, and instead of climbing, it descended toward the horizon, just over the tree line. Then, with the sun almost behind it, I clearly watched it. It first stopped, and then it stayed there, stationary. And then, with the sun just behind it, it descended straight down into the forest line. So I immediately got into my truck and went back to the house, and I grabbed my rifle and my camera, and I set out on foot. At the time, I was shooting a Sony TVR 900, and that I bought used. I had had it for a couple of years. So I set off to where I thought the craft had come down, and I just, used dead reckoning. And I must have hiked for about 2 hours. And I was probably at an elevation at that point of about 8,000 feet. The higher I got, the denser the forest was. But I just, kept getting close to the point of thinking, I'm there, I'm almost there. I was kind of like a kid. I just kept going. I knew that it was there. And, this is when I just started to roll the tape. Well, on my way up, I was less than an hour in. I started to see, all kinds of game running. It's not unusual up in the hills to see deer or other game, but it is not normal to see, a variety of different game on a given day. So there was fox, opossum, skunk, just a variety of game where a lot of activity. And at one point, I could hear through the trees less than a quarter of a mile away, I glimpsed a black bear hightailing it at full speed through the trees. So none of these animals were running from me. They were already on the move. So by the time I came up to the ship, when I started to roll tape here, I was nearly out of breath from the hike and the increased altitude. So I turned my camera on. And again, I felt totally unthreatened, as I had in many in my previous encounters. And the ship itself, it was not menacing, as you could see. I felt welcomed. It was as though, the 2-hour hike had just been a 5-minute walk, and I just kept walking. But I kept the camera at chest level, away from my eye as I got closer, because I was expected to be greeted. And it had been more than a few years since my last direct encounter, and I was looking forward to this opportunity to have this encounter again. And I didn't want to do anything to jeopardize the experience. So as you could see, as I'm approaching, the light from the ship turned a flat white, and it just didn't envelope me, and it enveloped the entire area. And at that point, the camera stopped functioning. And that was the beginning of my encounter aboard the craft, in which I was invited aboard and I ended up being reunited with my contact Voss. I have additional footage that I will be putting up here, taken with the permission of Voss, aboard a number of different ships. I've got footage of distant planets and views looking back at Earth, as well as the interior of the craft and their inhabitants. I will continue to post my footage and wait for the news of the day to verify these experiences that I know that I am not alone in.